And so the FE4202 is going to be replaced at some point by the Action X, but it probably won't be until after the Chieftain. And it typically is not a favored tank. It's basically a poor man's Patton. It has Hess shells, which are, let's see, these ones, which basically are a low-ish pen, that are really, really unreliable. So nobody ever really uses them. Yeah, so Lakeville, 155, 58, and a 51. You can play the middle. I don't normally recommend it. I would almost always drive east, and then usually some puppy will drive up there through the middle. So you can spot up in that sort of K8, J8 area to shoot through the middle to start. Depending on how far their guys move forward through the center, you can also go up to that sort of H9 area. Not sure where you're looking. You should always look where you're driving. You don't want to knock over trees. And let's see, so you've got a mouse, 215B, E5, E50, so you've got a good amount of heavies coming this way. Your STA, your guys that are in this middle area, they're too far back to prevent these guys from being lit. You've got way too much weight in the valley, but that's how puppies like to play. So I would move forward a little bit more, because if they do move mediums through here, you can get some easy shots. If they do have mediums get lit over here, you can get some easy shots. Nothing is going to really shoot you very easily if you move up to H9 to wait. So you always want to be in a position where, like, oh, if somebody gets lit in the middle, I got shots on that. So they have an IS-7 moving up towards church. So you've got an E50 there. It's going to be difficult to front. You kind of don't, be careful poking out here. You want to probably be back where that your E50 is, because you're not going to get good shots where you're at, especially against a relatively hold down E5. You don't want to drive out this way. Driving out this way, extremely dangerous. Yeah, but you did not get shot. That is good news. Looks like they have a lot dedicated to town as well. These guys are going to be able to get some encapsulate on. Your mouse is too far back. Your STA is going to be unaffected where he's at. The T30 will probably get some good shots. You want to be in a position where you can support these guys. So if this E5 pushes around, you want to be able to get shots there. Their IS-7 is on the lower plane. Pay attention. There, IS-7 to your left. IS-7 to your left. Yeah. Your E5 knows. You want to basically give that IS-7 enough rope to hang himself. You need to be watching that IS-7. No, the IS-7. That IS-7 is not a threat. You could have taken that shot on his back side turret. That's fine. You still need to pay attention to your left. Like, I don't, like... There's not going to be anything good where you're going. You're not helping anybody. You're not going to really deal any damage. You can get a shot here, maybe. And then you want to bet. You do not want... Like, it is all bad there, because you're either going to get hit by their artillery, you're going to get shot by this IS-7, this ISU is going to turn around. In the meantime, your guys are getting pushed over here. Well, you need to recognize that. Try to get that IS-7 down, drive wheel, good job. You guys actually need to back up a little bit, because you need to basically take their STI out. Their IS-7 is going to get shots. Shoot the drive wheel, there you go. Their IS-7 is pushing up, so you want to push forward now. You want to push into this guy. Push forward. You gotta go drive through them. Just drive around. So you always want to be able to identify, like, Am I going to be able to move these tanks in an FE-4202? You're not. If this IS-7 wanted to kill you, he could, well, he could have. Or if he wanted to shoot you, he easily could have. Like, you had zero chance of pushing through those tanks, and that's one of the things you need to retire. All you needed to do, and you had plenty of time, was just drive around there, and you would have been able to make it out.
It's a trap!
Okay. It's fine. What you're doing is fine. Don't stop there. Don't stop. Don't stop! Oh my god, you got lucky that he missed. Just keep driving. You got your shot of damage. He's one shot. This guy will finish him off. There's zero reason for you to stop there. If anything, you were blocking the 140 shot, making it more difficult for him to finish off the guy that you put down to one shot. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure how you lose this game. So you guys got to push very poorly here. See how this STA is going? Be in a position. This guy's going to light something here. Be in a position to shoot it. Be in a position to shoot what the STA is about to light. Go out to the 0 line. See where your 140 is? Your 140 is actually in a decent position. Ooh, they don't have anybody there. And then so you want to just play, you can move up here if you want. See how the STA is in, especially if you can get artillery down, get up to this area right here. Yeah, they got a 704 in the back, so you want to be really careful. Put that building between you and the 704. Play a little bit more to your right. You do not want, like, you can get shot by anything except for artillery in the 704. Okay, one of their artillery is out on the side. You and this E50 are doing God knows what. And so one of the things I never like to do, I never like to go where anybody else is. It always ends poorly because of a couple of reasons. One is that people are generally bad players and will get in your way and cause you to die more than anything else. But most importantly is the fact that you have the exact same firing angle, right? And that means that there's the exact same firing angle in return. So like it makes it easy for their bat chat and party and whatnot to get shots on you guys. So now that you're split up a little bit, that's actually good. But now you have a mouse right next to you. You don't have a shot on that Centurion. You don't have a shot on anything. You need to relocate. You need to get away from this mouse. You would get much better shots. See where this like Centurion is? Like you would get much better shots and be much safer from back here. Like where you're at right now, you're not going to be effective and you're still... You can push up to where this E50 is, but really the only reason why you can push it up to where this E50 is because he's going to go die. I'm going to say you guys threw this game. That was good. You just need to be careful that you don't get YOLO by the 704. You want to be closer to the carcasses so that you can actually... And you're not married to the cap, so yeah, backing out is entirely fine. Oh, yeah, the shell for you. That's actually fine. So where you're going now though, not fine. You actually wanted to drive back down this middle area here, because if these guys come out, then you can prevent them from driving across. See, you guys are pushing up through here, although they, for some reason, pushed past this 907, which makes no sense to me, but puppies.
Enemy armor destroyed. It's a trap.
And then now, unfortunately, you're kind of pinned in where you're at. You can come up through the left side probably more easily. Well, the 704 backed off. Just go back and kill the 907. There's like, just go back and kill the 907. The 704 is not going to leave. You're not going to be able to outcap the 907. Although luckily the 907 got off the cap. That's good.
It's a trap.
If you can get behind this guy at this point now, then that's a good play. Absolutely. If their guy isn't capping. No. Just going to, yeah. You always go sideways because that gives you the most options. If he turns one way or the other, then yeah. So the 907 will be coming up through the middle. And the 907 has 1120 health. So you need to get over by where your T-30 is at. You're not going to be able to solo the 907. Even if you're hull down, you're not going to be able to stop them.
Permission to engage. We didn't even scratch them. We're done for. Everyone, get out.
Not exactly sure what your T-30 was doing. Lol. Less talking, more playing. Yeah, unfortunately, you had a lot of guys in the valley. They had a lot of guys in the valley too, but that's one of those situations where both teams were equally stupid. So I feel like your target selection in the town could have been better. Like, I don't know why you were fixating on this IS-7 when they were pushing your guys over here. You could have helped them out. That potentially the FV-215B could have survived. Things like that. And I think that was, I think this was a major problem, the way that you played this area. Going right here is not a good option, particularly like as soon as you saw that IS-7 coming in, you don't want to be stuck right here, because him poking out around that corner is going to, that's always going to be a much more favorable situation for him than you. And that doesn't even take into account that they can put that E5 or any tank up here and have an advantage. And then when that E5 was there, he already shot you. Nothing else. He couldn't shoot you again because he wasn't going to be reloaded. You should have just gone into this alley with the E50. Instead, you turned around and came out this way. Coming out this way is extremely, 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 extremely dangerous. Anybody right here, anywhere along this line can shoot you. Artillery can shoot you along this entire path right here. This is safe. This is unsafe. And you drove around this way, but luckily it didn't cost you. That's great. And then you came over here, and then again, this is the other flaw. I just don't really feel like you were focused on the right tanks on the side, and that was important. But you guys actually traded really well in the town, in part because they pushed through kind of foolishly, and your guys over here did an admirable job of bouncing shots and not taking damage while actually being able to deal damage, which allowed you to counter through this area. Their IS-7, right, was too far back. By the time he pushed up, his team was dead, and that allowed him to get surrounded. You blocked the kill shot from your own 140. You're lucky that their IS-7 missed you. And then you come over here. You had a lot of tanks fronting, so at that point you can play further back and get angles that these other guys don't have. Instead, you came to the same area as other tanks. If other tanks move to the area that you're in, I would try to leave it. Moving up here was fine. After that, I don't understand how their 907 drove past all of your dudes. That makes zero sense to me, but whatever. And so if we look at the stats, so let's see. Their heavies that pushed through were the E5, IS-7, IS-7, STI. Yeah. And what's the other tank? There was another tank over there, I think, that I'm missing. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was just those four. Right? They didn't really do a whole lot, which gave you a huge win in town. And I think you were up like 3k health at that point. And maybe like 2 or 3 tanks, which sort of begs the question of how you lost. The Valley team likely traded really, really poorly, particularly near the end. I think their 907 was in the Valley too, which is, to me, just a ridiculous place to put a medium tank. But if you're going to get fed by, the other team, then I guess it works. I mean, whatever. It didn't seem like either team played the middle very strong at all, which is unfortunate. But you made the most of your shots, which is good. Otherwise, nice try. GG. How to face purple platoon players when you're soloing. I don't think you really play any differently when you're facing a platoon of good players. You try to figure out what they're trying to do, where they're at, whether they're separated or they're together. If they're together, you don't necessarily want to face them. I think it's different if you're in a platoon, and this is the problem that I have with a lot of platoons. I think a platoon should ideally work together. You don't even need to be in the same tanks. Like that Batchat platoon on Serene Coast. You don't need to be in the same tanks. You just want to be working towards some common goal. And so sometimes that's, hey, let's focus, like, in that Lakeville game, hey, let's focus on winning the town, and coordinating and doing things like that. And so I think if you're a platoon of purple players against one purple player, I think you can game plan for that. But if it's the other way around, you're just playing your regular game. And it's the same thing. It's like people always ask me how, if I get a really bad team and the other team has a really good team stat wise, how do I play differently? I don't really play it any differently. I think what you want to do, at least my particular play style, is to try to be in a situation where I can create opportunities for my team. And I think that you want to practice that in every situation with good tanks and with good teams and with bad teams. And you want to try to find situations that you can exploit, because if you're in a good situation, you can exploit it against a red player, you can exploit it against a purple player, right? The only difference is the purple player will eventually figure it out, and he will either leave or he'll push into a better area. He's not going to sit there and let you abuse him. And that happens a lot. Like you'll see it even against green and blue players, is that you'll have a huge advantage over them in a certain area. Like you'll be hull down in a tank, and they'll be out in the open, and you'll just be eating them up, and they won't leave. And this game comes down to creating those situations where you have an advantage. You don't necessarily need to be in a better tank, but you're in a better situation, and that allows you or your team to get damage, and it makes it difficult for the other team. And those are really the types of situations that you're looking for, regardless of whether your team is really good or really bad. At least from my perspective, that's what I'm always trying to do, is find those situations. And it's the same, that extends over to organized play, in that you're trying to do the same thing. You're trying to stay within whatever your caller is the calls that they're making, but you're looking to, if they're saying, okay, push Valley, on Lakeville, let's just say that's what the call is, right? The idea is that you can push Valley, but you don't want to push Valley to, brainlessly. You want to push Valley looking to get into situations where you have some advantage, and then exploit those advantages. And if you don't have an advantage, then you want to, either move forward or move backwards, depending, and say, hey, we can't do this, or we have to do this. What you don't want to do is just go one direction, and no matter what happens, come hell or high water, you just keep going in that direction. You don't want to do that in organized play. You don't want to do that in pub matches. It's always about being mentally flexible and finding situations that are exploitable. All